We're rolling? All right, cool. Well, hey guys, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode here at Grizzly Talk. Got your host, co-host here at Mike on the mic.
Luis at Fire Films.
And we got some special guests here with us, Mr. Mikeoz.
What's happening? Thanks for having me.
Of course, and Sam from FTK.
Sam from FTK.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you guys for being here. And I see you guys doing some major things like here in Fresno. You guys maybe want to start talking about maybe what you do? Maybe Sam or...
I have a sort of marketing and events company called FTK Construction. It's an offshoot of a retail store that we had here in Fresno. We had a location in Visalia about 10, 15 years ago. And then I started working for the Fresno Grizzlies, created some events for the Grizzlies. And then during the pandemic, they didn't have a season, so they laid everyone off, the whole front office. And then they offered to hire me back as a consultant. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to start a marketing and events agency or business and just hire this agency on a retainer. And so that's what I do. I help the Grizzlies put on events, but then I also do events downtown. Like I put on But a Brunch with Cockies.
Okay.
I do Positive Energy. I do a lot of just different random events, but they're all pretty much downtown Fresno centric.
Oh, dope. Yeah, I didn't know that you did that for Cockies. I've been seeing them like blow up a lot as well.
Yeah. I mean, what's good for downtown is pretty much good for me. I own a building in downtown Fresno, and I have a vintage shop there, and I also have a space attached to it that I do pop-ups in. And just if I can help create energy in downtown, then ultimately it trickles its way down to helping me. And,
awesome.
And so that was sort of how Mike and I
No, that's not how you and I.
No, we actually started via events.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
And then
that was my point.
Yeah, and then what do you do, Mike?
You're
And then
in Visalia, man.
Yeah, we're in Visalia. Yeah.
So I run Fresno Street Eats now. We do all kinds of food truck centric events and other events around town pretty much every day. We operate multiple locations every day, whether it's public stuff where people can come out and just in their neighborhoods or around where they live, or we have a lot of like business type locations we go for lunch. So your St. Agnes's and Kaiser's and Fresno County offices, where we send trucks to them all the time. We work with over 100 mobile food vendors. So beyond them, we're probably working with like 200 different small businesses just in the way that we operate. So we have lots of cool and interesting clients. We put on things like Fresh Fest and obviously Taco Truck Throwdown for me is where it all started. Back then, I was a writer for the Fresno Bee, so that was how I originally met Sam, was when I was at the Bee. I worked at Yahoo Sports in the middle of that, and I covered baseball for them. And then when journalism kind of came to an end for me, I just went right into Street Eats. Street Eats existed previous to that, but it wasn't really a full-time thing. So it was kind of the side thing, which I didn't make the choice to leave journalism. Journalism more left me, but when I got pushed out the window, I just kind of was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've been following you guys' page for a while. I didn't realize that it was you.
How did you guys meet, actually?
Yeah, so when I moved to Fresno in 2002, June 1st, 2002, actually. And I met Sam like within the first week. And there's a few of us who I think Sam is the nucleus of a lot of things, or Sam is sort of like the Bill Walsh coaching tree. You guys might be too young for that reference, but
Yeah,
but like if you go back to FTK, like FTK, all the things that sprouted out of that include Taco Truck Throwdown, Grizzly Fest, all the cool rappers out of Fresno, all that kind of stuff came from FTK. So when I moved out here, that was one of the first things I discovered, and I wanted to go write a story about FTK and the Bee.
I was wondering, did you find FTK via Central? Was it you
I found CentralCali.com.
CentralCali.com first. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
And so there was a message board called CentralCali.com. This is back in the message board era.
Yeah, before social media existed.
And so I scouted that out.
What year was this?
2002.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I knew like I had got
.com
a job.
era.
Yeah.
I got a job at the Bee like 2 months before my college ended. So like they hired me in like April, and they're like, all right, well on June 1st, once you're done with college, move out here. So I'd kind of been like doing my research, and I was like, all right, I was a hip hop dude, so I'm like, I found the hip hop people in Fresno.
Yeah.
And they were on CentralCali.com, and then I found out about the store, and I was like,
The store
all
was in Visalia.
yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna make this one of the first stories I do. So that's how I met Sam, and then a variety of other characters that we still talk to, and still doing things, and so that's how we met originally. You can add anything you want to that.
So
22 years ago.
22 years ago, man. That's wild. Wow. Yeah, so I moved here to the Valley in '98, but my family is from here. My family's from the Valley, and so I always had an aunt in the Tower District, and I always just kind of spent my summers down here. And so I came down here for school, and ended up getting an internship at a screen printing shop down in Visalia, and realized that I could take Fresno State classes at the University of Mooney. Shouts out to COS. And I met a guy at COS by the name of Bobby Noggle. He had a series of mixtapes called For the Kids. And this, I mean, you guys have had access to like free music your whole life, but back when Mike and I were growing up, like you had to go to the warehouse, you had to go to a place that, and then also you had to, there was music that wasn't available at those places.
Yeah,
so
lots of music.
Mixtapes were the way that you got familiar with artists like Nas or Eminem, or so Bobby's mixtapes. I was at COS and someone gave me this mixtape, and I, back then you just walk around with a Walkman on, so I pop it in my Walkman, and I was like, wait a minute, how does this dude know about Cage? How does this guy know about Organized Confusion? Like, I was like, because back then we used to kind of like keep these art. They were sort of like
You're gatekeeping.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I think on the West Coast too, you didn't find a lot of people that were into
exactly.
East Coast underground rap.
Yeah, and like Fresno and Visalia and the Valley was always really big on Bay Area underground rap, but you really didn't have a lot of people here that were into like New York or East Coast underground rap. So like to hear a mixtape with Big L on it was kind of like, oh, that's it. And you're like, okay, who is this dude? And so I met him. He and I had similar interests in music. I was really involved in graffiti culture. And I had already sort of met these guys through my screen printing classes that were doing these events at the parks in Lemoore and Visalia. There was a b-boy crew called Ground Zero out of Lemoore. And they did an event in Visalia, and I recall going over and they would just roll out linoleum, no permits, no nothing, just roll out, Jews would be b-boying, and maybe sometimes like someone would have a boombox, but I had a screwdriver, and I unscrewed the street light, and I pulled the cord out, and they're like, oh man, like I could have my homie come set up his tables. And I was like, yeah, like, so then that just kind of elevated. And so then like more and more people started coming to those events. So simultaneously, Bobby and I were hanging out a lot, and I'm designing his mixtape covers. And then through his record pools, you were in some record pools too, right?
Yeah, I was doing college radio back in San Jose before I moved here, so that's also one of the things that
kind of connected us.
Yeah, I tried to connect to the music scene.
Yeah, so we were all like, I feel like you were probably part of ABB too, no?
Yeah, all that kind of that underground rap stuff.
So all the underground rap stuff. So Bobby was also like connecting me with like all these underground artists to create album covers, and I was doing his mixtape covers. So then I was also involved with these like b-boy events, and they were just b-boy events. They weren't doing MC battles there yet, and this is pre 8 Mile. So dudes, when I would come down here, dudes would cypher, but they would just sort of like rap and wait for another guy to rap and be like, okay, yeah, that was good. But they weren't like going head to head. They weren't like dissing each other, like, and I was already familiar with that because I'm from the Bay, and they were already doing that up there, like sort of like, so.
I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this is gonna take a lot longer than an hour.
Yeah. So anyhow, we built.
I love hip hop, so to me, I'm just like absorbing.
So to get back on the way it got to Taco Truck Throwdown was we built this website, CentralCali.com. The website became an online store, and then we ended up opening up a brick and mortar store to house all this product. We really didn't think that we were going to have a lot of people, coming to the store, but it ended up, like Mike wrote an article about us in the Fresno Bee about the store, and then the store started getting way more traffic. The attendance of these events started growing. much more, and we ended up opening up a second location. So we had a Visalia store and a Fresno store, and
You might have heard the story about a guy named Kanye West coming to the.
yeah, we
Fresno
didn't.
grand
Yeah, so
opening.
we
You did the thing for Kanye.
yeah
huh?
did the
That
Kanye
is
Bear stuff,
awesome.
but that's a whole other.
Yeah, that's a
so
whole
so more sort of
We
just
can't even.
yeah.
say that.
So more for how it went to Taco Truck for Taco Truck Throwdown.
Actually, you got to tell the fashion. You got to tell the fashion story
To how-
to get to
Dude,
Taco Truck
he's,
Throwdown.
Taco Truck
he's
Throwdown.
one of my top people that I want to bring in here.
We
But I
really
feel
want to
like,
get him on.
Oh, that, yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
could
think,
definitely happen. That's like
yeah.
he's a little brother to us. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to do the fashion hat is how we get there, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so another guy that was involved with us during the Street Rock CentralCali.com days was this guy Aaron Hakamian, who ended up throwing Grizzly Fest, and he was Fashion's manager. But I had a vintage section in the store back in like 2008, 2009, and no one really cared about it. But Fashion happened to just be hanging out at the shop, and he picked up a Bart Simpson T-shirt that had sort of a black character, Bart Simpson, and he goes, "Oh damn, this is crazy! I just did a song called no, this is before that." He said, "I just did a song called Black Bart Simpson," and I was like, "Oh damn, I should flip a Bart Simpson T-shirt of you." And so back then, his crew was called like Grizzly City Boys, and they all used to wear like the purple Grizzly stuff. So the shirt design I did had him and all the purple Grizzly stuff, and they were smoking I don't know, he had a joint in the. They requested that.
Yeah.
So I got a cease and
Sam,
desist.
it's legal now.
I got a cease and desist from the Grizzlies, right? Because someone wore that shirt to one of the games. And Mike, you were already kind of tapped in with the Grizzlies, right?
I was,
you
yeah.
fucked with Scott Carter. Sorry,
Yeah,
can we
we
cuss
were
on here?
doing-
Yeah, you can cuss on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Scott Carter was your homie,
So
right?
we were
Yeah.
doing when I was at the B. We had sort of this is all really old cultural references. We had this blog when blogs first
Yeah, no,
You know, it started-
yeah.
Columns.
called the Beehive, right? And so we would do these. It was more of like just, hey, we're going to bring the internet into the Fresno Bee, which was kind of a weird idea for a lot of people at the Fresno Bee. But I've always been a very internet person, so.
I remember Beehive MP3. Yeah.
So then what we ended up doing was when Twitter first started, like this is 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
We started doing these tweet ups, and it was like everybody in Twitter come to
Yeah, he was like,
the Fresno Grizzlies games, and we'd get the pool area, and we'd just have like a party basically, right? So that's important. Now that'll
sure.
come back in a second.
yeah. Well, the reason because I've told this story before, but I feel like I kind of
We don't tell the story together very often.
yeah. And one of the things I felt like I've left out is like how much Mike's role in this has been. Is that whenever I got the cease and desist from the Grizzlies, I hit up Mike about it. Because I knew that he had a relationship with the Grizzlies, and Mike was like, "They're actually pretty cool, man. Like, just go down there and talk to them."
There's a dude named Walmer who was super cool.
super cool.
And
You know,
like Scott Carter was super cool.
yeah. So I just went down there, and I was like, "Hey, how about if I take the joint off the deal?" And because I originally wanted to put a skateboard on there, and I was like, "What about if we replace the joint with a skateboard, and then we actually make those skateboards?" And they were like with it. And then on the artwork, I had Fash wearing a purple Grizz hat, and then I think I put I had put like the new Grizz logo on it, or I had done and somehow Walmer and I were like, hey, we should do the orange Grizz F, so let's do that in a purple colorway. And so we did that, and I said, but I want to sell them at my spot. I want to sell them at FTK, which was on Sean Blackstone. And we did 144 of those hats and sold out of them that day. And they were like, wow, how the fuck did you do that? Like, and I was like, I had to explain to them like sneaker culture and all that shit. Back then. They didn't understand that. Remember?
And when
Like
you start looking at like Fresno taco hats, like these things should start to click, right? Like,
yeah. So the first one was a purple colorway Grizzlies hat for Fashion. And it wasn't just FTK that pushed, like Fashion was blowing up right then too, because that was whenever like Wiz was starting to like notice him, and he
went on the XXL.
Yeah, he was on the XXL.
With-
I think, was that probably few months after that? I think maybe. No.
Maybe. I don't. It all runs.
Yeah, it's
Time
all
runs
around the same
yeah.
time.
Culture,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was
There's
all,
so much stuff happening back then, man.
Yeah, that was probably 2010. 2010.
Maybe 2009. Because first Taco Truck Throwdown was 2011.
Yeah.
It's kind of nostalgic hearing it all,
sure.
honestly.
Well, right after, so I've told the story of FTK a million times, but I went down there. They offered me a job as a merchandise consultant at the Grizzlies. And I was like, hell yeah, like this will be tight. And then
They saw the potential of
because of the hats,
collabos and
Yeah.
the hats, they were
limited
like,
edition and all that stuff.
yeah. So they were like, and then when I got there, they needed a graphic designer, and so they hired me as a graphic designer, and I ended up I was like, man, this feels good to get a check as opposed to all the bills that I had for the shop. So I ended up closing the shop and working in the Grizzlies marketing department and as a graphic designer, but I was around all the people that like pitched the ideas. And at the time they had a bunch of people there, and Scott Carter, like he was cool. Walmer was cool. All the
I think
people
they were gone by then.
What's that?
They were gone. Scott was gone by
Yeah,
then.
so Scott had just left, but I guess I bring that up to say that like the people who kind of had built the Grizzlies, they're all like really creative people, really good people, but they weren't from Fresno, and so they didn't really, in my opinion, really truly understand Fresno culture.
Around what time was this?
This would be
2010.
late 2010.
When was the last time they sold the stadium?
What's
Didn't they recently sold the stadium?
Sell it?
No.
No.
Or
Nah, the
rights
city
to it?
the city owns it.
Oh, okay.
But there's a
okay.
new ownership group of the
They
Grizzlies.
sold the team.
Yeah, they sold the team.
Oh, okay.
That's what it
That's
was,
what I
Yeah,
thought.
but this was I don't know, Scott. Like in minor league baseball, things shake up, and
Yeah,
people
every
leave,
year they're always
you know.
moving, and
Yeah,
it's a very nomadic kind of culture.
for sure, and
So we were doing. So we did a tweet up. This is where
Yep, this
I guess
is
to get to it. So we had our, it was our second tweet up, and that was a fun one. I remember we did all kinds of weird. We did like a scavenger hunt. You had to go. This is when they had a Ferris wheel. You had to run over there and do the Ferris wheel. It's sort of like a double dare in my mind. Like if I did a double dare obstacle course.
wait, was this is the second tweet up?
Yeah, second tweet up.
So they had a Ferris wheel before that?
That was when it was there.
Oh, okay.
First tweet up, we didn't do all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, second tweet up. So we finished the second tweet up. We're all done. Sam is. I was like, "Yo, will you help me carry this stuff to my car?" And he's like, "Yeah, cool. I have an idea. I want to run it past you anyway." And he's like, "What if we did like a taco truck event?" And we just brought in like all these best taco trucks from all over.
So, but the like I was literally explaining this to someone earlier today. Without Mike writing this article for the Fresno Bee called the the Taco Trail, I would have.
That was 2009 maybe.
Yeah, I would have never had this idea.
Yeah.
So we're in this meeting, and they're all talking about like what we need to do for the Grizz, and I was like, you guys really need to like get on some Central Cali shit. Like just be fucking unapologetically Central Californian. Like celebrate the shit that makes us unique.
Yeah.
And I was going through things in my head, and I was like, dude. At the time, because there weren't these like hipster food trucks and things like that. It was just taco trucks.
Yeah, just taco trucks.
And I remember like I was like, man, like the Valley really fucks with taco trucks. Like, and the Bay can say that they had taco trucks, but it was not.
It wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
It's not like the culture here.
Yeah, like
I think
you
part of that is
Because we got the space here and like
Part of it is like small town culture, which is I think the thing that Sam really tapped into was that like,
Yeah.
you know, if you lived in Dinuba, like you had to ride for the taco truck in Dinuba. You weren't going
Yeah,
to be like,
that was
I
your
really
shit,
like
you know?
this truck in Reedley or something. You're like, no, like that truck in Reedley is not it. Like it's
Yeah.
the truck in Dinuba.
Yeah, like some people ride for like Los Toritos.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's
that's
like that
their-
kind of that pride of. So when the first Taco Truck Throwdown was really that idea.
Yeah, a truck from each city.
Yeah,
like,
and it
in
was
that
like
city,
we're only gonna
you
pick
know?
one truck from Fresno. We're only gonna pick one truck from. So we had like 7 different cities represented. And
it's only 7 trucks. Did you guys use the whole like stadium or just
No,
the like
so then,
surrounding?
back then it was
Back
just
then,
in the
yeah.
little plaza area over there by where the
On the
what's it
side?
called
where the
now?
cantina
By the
is.
cantina and all that stuff.
Fresno
Guy,
Circle.
yeah.
Yeah.
During a game, they used to be during games.
Yeah, it was during a game. It was like while the game was going on, that was all over there.
And nobody thought it was a good idea except us.
Nope, man. It was. I remember pitching it, saying like, "Hey, my man Mike had wrote this article called the Taco Trail," and I was like, "These people like rep like the people in each of these towns fucking love these trucks. These people will come here to vote for their trucks."
Yeah,
And
I
they're
guess
like,
backstory there is we did at the B one with me and the food writer. We did 31 different taco places across the valley from like Porterville, Raisin City, Madera. So we went to 31 different places, and we just said like these are the best ones.
And when did you guys start integrating artists and music?
Oh, that was a few years.
that was later, bro. That was
Later.
like that wasn't until like I was Taco Truck Throwdown.
Yeah, because I mean the Fresno taco stuff happened before that, like the hats and the changing the team to the Fresno Tacos. That all happened before.
Yeah, before that. So the first one, people they thought it wasn't going to work, and it did.
It was a big turnout.
Yeah. It was probably one of the bigger turnouts of that, like next to 4th of July or one of those.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest games of that. But then
they were even like, they can't do it again.
Yeah, they literally said that. This one of the Grizzlies owners said like, okay, you guys like, what did he say? He said you guys swung with your eyes closed and hit a home run.
Why were they skeptical?
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Why were they skeptical though? Like,
It's just different.
They didn't get it. I mean,
well, the thing about baseball too, having worked on the baseball side of it, is like baseball organizations and baseball teams, they all kind of do a lot of the same stuff, right? It's like, oh, we got 90s night and we're going to bring out, this celebrity, or we're doing Paw Patrol night, or, these kind of things that happen everywhere.
Oh, I
so
see.
like when you come with something different, people are like,
It's like that traditional culture they have for sure.
But again,
really
like Sam was saying, tapping into something local was kind of different to them. Because
do you think their mindset, like you said, they weren't local, so did that play with anything?
for sure.
I think
For
so,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe
Definitely.
they didn't see it.
And they were young. I mean, we're not young right now, but we were younger at the time, so it
Yeah.
wasn't as young.
And I mean, to keep it a buck, a lot of them are from not in, they're not from downtown. They're like from, they grew up in suburbs. And so
They don't see the culture the same way.
the same way. But then again, I mean, if you're from Central Cali, you've eaten at a taco truck. It doesn't matter what part of you're
yeah.
from.
Well, back then, I mean, you got to remember too that, and I think Taco Truck Throwdown has played a big part in this. Back then, you didn't see taco trucks as prevalently as you do today.
Yeah.
They existed, but they existed sort of on the outskirts, right? They weren't like as acceptable. People still called them roach coaches and things like that. There's a lot of people who, today it's like, oh, we're gonna have my kid's birthday party. We're gonna bring a taco truck. 12 years ago, people weren't doing that shit, right? Like, and I do think that not just because of Taco Truck Throwdown, but Taco Truck Throwdown has definitely played a part in making that idea a lot more palatable to people. They see it. I used to always say, like, especially when we started putting them on the field, like, taco trucks exist sort of on the outskirts, on dusty roads and places you can't always see them. But the goal is to put them under the stadium lights and make them be the stars.
And that was one of the first goals of it, too.
That was one of the things. And I think doing that made people more familiar and more trusting and more, understandable of the idea that, like, this is just as good as going to a restaurant, or even better in a lot of cases. So that was one of the first things that I think really changed with Taco Truck Throwdown.
Absolutely, because I mean, when I started high school, it was around 2011, and I do not remember the taco, or at least food truck culture, being as big as it is now. I mean, now you have every sort of food out there, and everybody trying to brand and be creative with how they market their trucks. So that's pretty good.
One of the things decisions I'm really glad that we made was that I think the second year we were like, do we make this a food truck throwdown? And one of the right?
We didn't do that.
Because
the third year is when they wanted, like, third year they were like, oh yeah, this is great, give me 12 of them or whatever.
They will. This, I think one of the years, or maybe it was 2 years, the owners were like, you guys should just make this a food truck throwdown, because by then the Bay Area, they're having like the Bay Area food truck roundups up there. And I remember we were like, no, what was it? Remember Burro Tacos? That was the
Burro Tacos.
We also came back to, like,
and that's
we'll just do a tri-tip throwdown then, and then let's do so I think we pitched them the idea of season of the throwdown.
Just doing other ones, but we wanted to keep Taco Truck Throwdown because we'll get to that later, but like taco trucks were invented in Central California. That's something that was created here.
I had no idea.
That's a whole other
Can you do a quick history behind that, because I don't know anything about that.
Do it now.
Yeah. So during the 40s, when all the men went to war, they had the Bracero Act, where Mexican laborers could come up here. They didn't bring their family, so there was no one to cook for them. And so in order to get food out to these guys who were in the field, they created the lonchero trucks to drive out and take tacos.
So you were talking literally about pickup trucks, like people were just in
like stoves in the back of their trucks, like driving out to the field and just serving like tortillas and beans and just off the truck, like here, because it was during the war, so they're just trying to like get that food cranked out, and and so that was one thing too. We wanted to like honor the Bracero era of Central California and the role that it played in saving the fucking world.
And we have beyond that.
Wow.
I mean, we've talked to people who, some of the long-standing, not just taco trucks, but just taco people, right? Like in the valley, about, okay, well, LA says the first taco truck is in 1981. tell me about 1978. And they're like, oh yeah, 1978, we were doing this and we were doing this and whatever.
Yeah.
So we just have people that, I remember, waking up and my dad and me would do this and we'd go out there and feed people. And
yeah, Jovita was like, they were going out and.
Yeah, Jovita from the Mexicano.
They were going out and feeding the braceros. But I mean, it started here in like the 40s. Yeah. World War II was during the 40s. So that's 30 years before anywhere else was doing it.
Yeah. Wow.
So, what a good gem to throw.
So that was like, so that's part of it. But we really wanted to celebrate. Like we wanted the Grizzlies, or at least it was in my best interest to like make the Grizzlies tap into Central California culture more. Mm-hmm. And so Taco Truck Throwdown was sort of helping that also.
How did that gradually grow, or did you guys have like a year that was like just a year where it exploded?
So the year it exploded, right, was probably was it Taco Truck Throwdown 4? Remember
4 or 5?
So K Rich came in and we had K Rich DJing out in the plaza. Remember? And
I remember there was one year where like there was no tickets to be had.
Yeah.
Like, and there was
it was just sold out.
Yeah.
Like to say it sold standing room only tickets. And it was during baseball still, right? So it was still baseball going on.
So you had like the old like baseball fans like, they aren't even watching the game.
I remember this is very pre-meme culture.
Yeah.
People were doing the Dave Chappelle, Tyrone Biggums, like,
I
you got Taco Truck tickets?
Yeah. Well, Mike, so one thing, because I think I've told this story and I forgot that this is a crucial part that I feel gets left out of the Taco Truck Throwdown story. I do have to give a shout out to the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs and their bacon hat. And you saw that and you hit me. Mike hit me and was like, yo, and they're kind of like my rivals, I'm not gonna lie, because they do really good marketing in baseball. And
can I tell the story? Because I think I might tell it better than you.
Yeah, go for it.
So at that time, I was gone. I wasn't at the Fresno Bee anymore, right? So I left. I was at Yahoo Sports covering baseball, and I was always trying to write about quirky things. And minor league baseball is full of quirky things. So you see the thing about Lehigh Valley, they're the Iron Pigs. They put out a bacon hat, like a sort of alternate hat. And I was like, I'm going to write a story about this. But before I even write a story about this, I'm going to call Sam. And I was like, Sam, we need to make a taco hat.
He did say that.
And but this is the thing about Sam. Sam will not take anybody's idea and just be like, well, if they did a bacon hat, we can't just do a taco hat. And so I don't know. I mean, it wasn't right away, but it was probably
I kept it in the bank though.
It was within the day.
I did a sketch and I put it up on my little sketchboard, and it was sitting there.
Within the day, Sam's idea was, no, we need to make the whole team the tacos. Like we're not just.
It came later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, because remember I started sending you like I was like, what do you think about this for taco hats? And then.
Anyway, Sam had to take it to another level. And was like, no, we can't just put out a hat. Like, we have to
innovate,
change the name of the team to the Fresno Tacos. And you could talk about what all that takes, because that took quite a bit of.
It was fucking.
You can't just do it.
Also another thing about me is like I love pissing off like old cranky Clovis ass white people. Like I love that. Sorry, that's just.
Well, I like. I'll tell that story. You talk about the. You talk. I'll tell.
So it got super cracking. What he was talking about, where it was just like packed, right? It was sold out.
No. Tell them about like.
I know. It gets to that. Because it was packed, and like all the old cranky baseball people were mad, and they're like, I don't know, I was even watching the goddamn game. And afterwards, we sort of had like a little meeting after Taco Truck Throwdown. What was it, like maybe 4 or 5?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, maybe it was 4. And we were just like, damn, we might as well. It was either Derek Franks or this dude Brian. One of them said, man, we might as well just change our. No one cares about the game. We might as well just change our name to the Fresno Tacos.
Yeah.
Joking, and I was like, bro, we should change our name to the Fresno Tacos. Like, you know, and they're like, no, we can't do that. And I was like, no, let's do it like a fake press release type thing. I was like, it'll piss it's gonna, you know, just create like just
a buzz,
you know. Yeah. I was just gonna piss people off, or they're gonna fucking love it. And then I ran most things. I run up. Like Mike is like the like the barometer of like, is this fucking crazy? Is this not? Will this work? And then I hit you, right? Remember?
No, I was into it from the beginning.
Yeah, he was.
What was interesting about it though was that, much like in the if you guys know this, like Michael Jordan wasn't allowed to wear the first Jordans, right? Like he was getting fined.
Yep.
Because it didn't follow the NBA rules. So the Grizzlies got fined.
Yeah.
Like for that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like they couldn't do it. You weren't supposed to be able to do that.
Nah. Like they were, and we did this whole thing. Like we did a press release. Like we're changing our name to the Grizzlies, and like the owner Tacos. I'm sorry, we're changing from the Grizzlies to the Tacos, and they're like, "What do you know?" I mean, it was. Yeah, Derek was getting blown up by like Major League Baseball, minor league baseball. So yeah, it was a huge ordeal. And then
and now to fast forward, the entirety of minor league baseball has some sort of Hispanic, Latino. Every team has an alter ego. That Fresno Tacos idea has spread all over the country. There's the flying chanclas and there's
Flying chanclas.
there's 150 of them, right?
So it started too. So we won promo of the year that year for minor league baseball. And then when I gave my presentation, I said, this works because it's something that is like rooted in Fresno culture and Central Valley culture is the taco trucks, right? Like that's part of who we are. And I said, there's a lot of like foods that symbolize where you guys are from. So I said, just in Memphis, it would work to do a rib throwdown and do a rib hat and change your name to the Memphis Ribs. And so everyone ran with that. Everyone did the food thing, but then they also came back and they
Brooklyn slices,
Yeah.
and all these different.
Yeah,
They
everyone
started just
yeah.
They all
catching
just
like
copied
wildfire.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
Wow.
minor league baseball just copies, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
that works there. Let's do it over here.
And then and we advocated it. We were like, you guys should do it. Like we were like saying like, hey, like you know, like.
But they did want to do tacos. Like Ray's not here, so Ray is now. He was not. He wasn't there in the beginning. But Ray's a very crucial part.
Super crucial part.
What we do because we didn't have anybody who spoke Spanish originally, right? So
So my girl, I used to take my girl. and
we would just find random with that, but then we'd find other random people like who speak Spanish.
Yeah, we would just take people who speak. Oh man.
Aquí.
I used to have I had my Grizzlies badge, so I thought that made me look more official.
They thought we were the health department.
They thought I was the health department.
Yeah. So
They're like,
I did that for videography once.
yeah. Yeah.
So Ray is definitely an important third piece
Oh,
of
huge.
And Ray's also the VP of Fresno Street Eats. But Ray tells a story about they were somewhere and he was one of those minor league baseball conventions, and some team came up to him and was like, "All right, well, can you help me do a taco truck throwdown where I am?" And he's like, "Well, do you got taco trucks there?" They're like, "No." Like, then you can't do a taco truck throwdown.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, you know.
So, but when they asked me, like the Paw Sox guy asked me, and I was like, "You should do a lobster roll throwdown." Because they got hella lobster rolls out there. You know,
Yeah.
they had like little lobster roll like huts. And I was like, you guys, you know, I don't know if you can bring them to your stadium, but a lot of teams did figure out ways to make it work. You know, so.
I have a story I want to tell about the taco hat because it's one of the ones that tell a lot. It's very important and very Fresno to me in a lot of ways. So we eventually put out the taco hat, the original one, and you know, we do a press conference, unveil the taco hat. We all think it's just an amazing idea, right? Everybody on our side of things is like, this is great. And, you know, this is of the time of, you know, people's just starting getting on like live streams everywhere and Facebook lives and all this stuff. So all the media in town, you know, they knew at that point to show up to a Fresno Grizzlies press conference because something stupid was going to happen, right? Like something ridiculous or whatever. It was very pro wrestling, and I mean, it still is sometimes.
For sure. Oh, definitely pro wrestling.
And, and
like
so,
how you guys have the luchador stuff there.
Yeah.
The immediate reaction was like, this is the stupidest idea I've ever seen. Everybody's going to laugh at Fresno because Fresno people love to get bent out of shape about people laughing at them, right? It's the from Johnny Carson days. They just we're gonna be a laughing stock of everything.
Yeah, we're going to be the butt of the joke.
Yeah, and we're just getting obliterated in the comment sections. And so this happens for the first, 30 minutes, right? At the same time, we're putting it out on Twitter, you know, like I had a pretty big Twitter following at that point. I'm getting it out there. And then I think it was either ESPN or SportsCenter, one of those accounts tweeted it like, this is the best hat. This is the best baseball hat ever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all the people in Fresno were like, oh my God, this is the best thing to ever happen. Because Fresno really needs that outside.
Yeah, they have to have someone to
That validation.
Outside affirmation, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is the greatest thing because ESPN said it's great, so now it's great. And
Yeah.
you know, after that, it's on MLB Network and every social media site. And
Yeah.
That is very Fresno.
but it's very Fresno.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, come on, guys.
One of the things about the taco hat, I started doing some sketches and started doing some designs. And there was a kid out of Huron, California, that had been doing a lot of design stuff for me. Had kind of expressed interest in doing illustrator work. And Dorian Castro, you guys might know him. He has the brand Sincere. And so he came along and designed that for us. So not only was the hat, something that honored something that is part of Central California history, but it was also designed by someone who grew up in a migrant town like Huron, and grew up around. I mean, I believe Dorian actually was like worked in the fields at one point. And so, I mean, it's all around, like just from the design to where it came from. I mean, the story of the hat is something quintessentially Central Californian, in my opinion.
At that point, too, I was doing baseball at that point, right? So I'd go to the World Series every year. I'd go to the All-Star game. And I promise you, every single time I went any sort of baseball convention-y thing or World Series game, I would always see a Fresno Tacos hat. Like, it was sold in every state across the country, like 70 different countries or something like that, right? Some crazy number. And it just became a thing. And I long have this theory. I mean, I can't really validate it with, beyond just being a theory, but a lot of outside people see Fresno, or they would say, "Oh, where are you from?" Fresno. Oh, the place with the taco hat, right? And the inside, the internal Fresno people don't see this, but outside people are like, "Oh, Fresno, that's the place with the tacos." And I think it did a lot to change people's mind outside of Fresno about what Fresno was, at least in like a silly way, right? Like, oh yeah, that's the place with the taco thing.
Yeah, the taco thing.
On that note, are you guys pretty familiar with taco culture outside of Fresno, and where do we kind of rank in between everybody? I mean, I have seen a lot of debates between who has the best tacos between Texas and California.
It's definitely not Texas, I'll tell you that much.
They say
I don't know.
LA
Yeah.
or Sacramento or.
I feel like I'll say this, man. I've eaten tacos in Houston. I've eaten tacos in LA. I've eaten tacos in San Diego. I've eaten a lot of tacos here, obviously. Central California is the best, and if for no other reason than this, it is the most melting pot place where you can get a taco from Guadalajara in one place, and you can get a taco from Oaxaca in one place, and all these cultures live here.
Yeah.
And
I'm getting my carnitas from Michoacan, I'll tell you that much.
I just got a Guanajuato today.
Yeah.
In the same place, which not a lot of people have that luxury, right? Like, you go to, I mean, LA obviously has that much of diversity. Yeah. But I'll be honest with you, man, I've gone to a lot of the really sort of like Instagram famous or whatever taco places in LA, and some of them are good, but a lot of them are just like, pictures just look good. Like the food itself, like I'll put Los Torritos up against, and I'll put Elegante against anybody anywhere. I'll put El Premio against anybody anywhere, like.
Premio Mayor is fire.
Like.
So who ended up winning the first Taco Truck Throwdown? What city was it? Because you said it was
La Elegante.
La Elegante from Fresno?
From Fresno.
Wow.
They're down in Chinatown.
Is there a repeat winner?
What's that?
Has there been a repeated winner?
Oh yeah.
El Premio's won 6 times.
Yeah,
Six times.
They had to retire.
Oh, wow.
We had to retire them to.
Yeah.
And then
They retired? They don't go anymore?
No, I mean, like she's a homie. She'll be there.
Bianca's gonna be a judge this time.
She'll be a judge. But.
Oh no way.
Tacos La Vaporera has won 3 times. Taco Pinto's won 2 or 3 times.
Tacos El Pinto's really good too. Yeah, they have like the shrimp tacos and stuff like that.
They were a good story about them is they'd been open 6 weeks when we brought them into Taco Truck Throwdown. And I remember this, like I had brought them out, I'd found them and brought them out to something else, and I was like, I could just tell you guys are onto something here. And I was like, you got to come to Taco Truck Throwdown. So they're in there, don't know what they're, I don't know what they're expecting, whatever. Crushed it. And I remember going like, so we go after we tally the judges' ballots and the people's ballots and everything. We go and we get the people, and we just like, hey, you got to come with me real quick. And I think some of them now probably know what that means, but at the beginning, sometimes they probably didn't know. They probably think they were in trouble or something. Mm-hmm. But I remember screenshotting like their Instagram at that point, and they had like, I don't know, 150 followers or something. By the time I went to bed that night, they had like 2,500 followers just off like day one Taco Truck Throwdown, right? And it's like 6 weeks into your business,
you blow up like that. And at that time, 2,500 followers were huge, a huge amount. Like now people on the regular have 10,000, 100,000, and it's
so. I mean, it definitely was a thing that could make your business.
So when did you guys introduce the different competitions with like the salsa, the miche?
That was like
salsa last year was the first year. Mm-hmm. Michelada is 2-3 years ago. 2
years ago. Yeah.
Trying to add more.
Because Miche Firme has won the last 2 or 3 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So like part of that was, I always believed that because for a long time when we did it during the baseball game, it was always on a Thursday.
Yeah, we couldn't have. It was on the baseball game was going on, so we had limited space.
And we wanted to do it at the night they had cheap beers.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did it on Thursdays because that was they used to have
Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah, Thirsty Thursday. They had $1 beers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it went to $2 tall cans of Tecate.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I always wanted it to be like a, like a regional thing that people would come from out of town for or whatever. And it was hard to do that on a Thursday. Excuse me. And it was hard to do that in like July, right? Because you'd be like, oh yeah, come to Fresno and it's going to be 110 degrees.
No way.
Just look at this summer. Jeez.
It was a tough sell, right?
Yeah.
And then so we're like, well, the only way we could do this would be like to move it to a weekend. And that's your question earlier. That's when we started bringing in entertainment, was when it became more of a festival and less of a baseball game. Bring in entertainment, have the salsa throwdown, have the michelada throwdown. One year, Sam had a taco themed miniature golf course created. All kinds of stuff we've done over
art
the years.
shows.
We've done art shows a bunch of times. There's a cigar lounge this year. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
What about like a small list of the biggest artists you guys have had?
Probably Ramon Ayala is probably have to be the biggest.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, I didn't know that. That's massive.
What year was that?
And that was back then. It was pretty. What year was that? 2016.
I mean, I can look it up. Yeah.
So we wanted to.
is
I think the first year we added entertainment, we did like Chingo Bling, and we did sort of just more local stuff, and then the Grizzlies were getting more into doing concerts, and I think I just randomly said to Dorian, I was like, man, we should bring like Ramon Ayala and E40. I was like, 'cause that's some Fresno shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramon Ayala, DJ QUIK.
Yeah, but so in E40 ended up being like booked for something else, so we didn't get him, and we ended up getting DJ QUIK, instead. But still, we did DJ QUIK and Ramon Ayala, and that was sort of the another just thing that I felt was very Central Californian. Was like, I remember being around kids that like grew up on Mac Dre and Chalino, and so I was like, let's like merge the two and have.
Yeah, everyone like from the area jokes about like my playlist could go from like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah, exactly.
all the throwbacks, hip hop, and then it'll go to like you said, Chalino, freaking Ramon Ayala,
exactly,
like all these big artists too.
So that was sort of another.
Cumbia Kings. We've had TooShort, Orangey,
Goody Mob.
Goody Mob.
Let's see. Then last year they booked.
We had Bone.
Yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
That was
We brought 2 years.
Last year was Cypress
We
Hill.
brought Food's Gone Wild.
Yeah,
Gone
Was
Wild.
Food's Gone Wild was
Cypress Hill was
11.
crazy last year too.
And then Cypress Hill, we had booked Mexican OT, and he just ended up like blowing up, like because we booked him when he was pretty.
Right when that song came out. Yeah.
The what was it?
Johnny Dang.
Johnny Dang. Yeah.
And then so we had him, and then he just blew up like as Taco Truck
We
Throwdown
had
was.
Dog Pound last year.
Yeah, Dog Pound was
And
there.
how do you guys go about getting and connecting with these artists and securing them?
That's the hardest part.
That was
the
my
hardest
question.
part, bro.
My next question.
Yeah,
Also, the hardest part is getting us all to agree on
Yeah.
like, what we think.
for
Who
sure.
you guys think should come or
Or like what the idea should be, right? Like I think we spent a lot of time trying to like, hey, the Ramon Ayala and DJ QUIK thing was so wild and like it was so different. I remember, again, I was doing baseball stuff at the time and we were somewhere and this dude from LA who I became friends with, he worked for the LA Times, and he was like, "Did you guys really put Ramon Ayala and DJ QUIK on the same thing?"
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we did. He's like,
We were
"What
like,
made
that's
you do that?"
that's some Fresno shit.
Like,
And it worked.
yeah.
Because it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah,
There's actually a classic comment. I think you responded to it, but it was like, I was on Instagram, like, why would you guys do this? And it's like, because we like to party.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, that's Fresno show right there.
Yeah, we like
but
to
But
party.
I think it's always trying to stay ahead of the curve a little bit, right? Like we've looked at, like how do we replicate that when, a lot of the sort of 90s hip hop stuff that we would go after for a while. I mean, now that's what the Fresno Fair is doing. That's what the casinos are doing. Even the next level of like, we should bring somebody like Ludacris. Well, Ludacris is going to, the casino and they're going to pay double. They could pay double what we pay, or what our budget is. So it's always trying to figure out like not necessarily chasing that stuff, but like what could we do that's different? How could we do something that's just more of our style?
And the timing also has to be right too.
Yeah.
Where like I've been trying to get Larry June for 4 years, maybe even 5, but I just didn't know if the time was right to where enough people knew about him to where it would
he's
make sense.
huge, yeah,
So
yeah.
And then we're always kind of trying to figure out like,
The next one.
When is Taco Truck Throwdown going to be?
Yeah.
Because you
Yep.
got to have a date, and it kind of has been moving around the last few years because we try not to do it on a day that there's a Fresno State football game, which is one of the advantages. One of the good things about having it in the summer was like nothing goes on in the summer, right? So we would be like, we are the event of the summer. And now that we've been doing it like October, November, then it's like, now we got to work around the fair and Fresno State games and all that stuff. Like one year we just picked a date, randomly, and ended up being Fresno State, Boise State, which
that's a huge game.
Like,
Yeah.
And then on our end, we also do Fresno State. We do Street East works with Fresno State, so we're like,
It's crazy to see how much the traffic moves around when there's a big event.
Yeah.
Like you'll see downtown empty when there's something big going on, like at Seymour Center.
There's also a ton of really good Hispanic concerts now at Chuck Chancey Park.
Yeah.
So we have to not be on those days, right? Like, because they're killing it with all the big artists they're bringing in.
Was it last week they had Luis Serra come out and
A little bit of an imaginary question, but if you guys could throw like the perfect taco throwdown, who would the artist be and like?
Well, we had talked about that, like, because we were saying at the rate we were going, like, we kept on having to like get bigger artists, and I said we have to like taper it off at some point, because I said like we can't go from like Ramon, Ayala, and DJ QUIK to what did I say? I said at some point we're gonna have to get Vicente Fernandez and Drake. This is whenever he was still alive, recipe, but
So remember also you tried to say when we should get Los Tigres and Tiger.
Oh, yeah, we did say that.
the Tigers of the North.
Yeah. That's what we were gonna. We were gonna do Los Tigres and Tiger one year. We had actually talked about that. Like but they were way out of our budget.
Man, they're huge. A huge name too.
I don't know what the ultimate would be. I mean, honestly, I feel like the thing that people want the most is people want Ramon Ayala again, right? So,
but he's like retired now. Right?
Actually, I have another question. Since you guys are hip hop heads, top 3 artists of all time, or
like personal?
Yeah, personal. What do you like, man?
Because Mike and I go about this like whatever. Like we go Cooperstown and personal. I mean, I'm from Vallejo, California, so I mean I'm a little partial to E40.
Okay.
I was raised on Rakim. So I love Rakim, and talking group or just individual or artist.
It could be
or.
That's kind of harder. Huh?
Okay, I'm how do you not like Tribe or Outkast?
Tribe Called Quest.
My favorite rapper of all time is Andre 3000. I think the greatest rapper of all time is Jay-Z. I would say either Outkast. Those two are on the list either way.
Yeah.
So Outkast and Jay-Z, and then. There's so many other really good things.
It's hard for me to pick between Tribe and Outkast.
I listen to so much Lil Wayne that it's almost hard for me not to
throw him in there.
I listen to a lot of Lil Wayne, man.
But
I really love Gangstar, right? Like, I really love like Mac Mall. Like I love Mac Mall. I love Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang too.
Wu-Tang would be the one for me. I know that's a little cliche to say for sometimes, but whatever.
Nah, that's
but I can't front. Like I'm a Wu head for sure.
Yeah.
But Mac Mall Illegal Business is one of the better albums of all time. I'm just gonna say.
You're just gonna throw it out there.
Oh, definitely.
What's the trajectory been like from year 1 to the attendance to maybe like year 5, 10, and now you guys are on 13 like.
So the first, I think it was like 8,000.
First year you guys sold 8,000?
But baseball games, right?
Baseball game.
Oh, okay. Because that was like the entertainment for the event at the time, right?
So there's one year when Barry Zito was doing like a rehab assignment for the Giants.
Yeah.
And so there's just a hell of people there.
Yeah.
Because they were there to see Barry Zito, And so that skews the numbers a little bit. So I think it's hard to look at the baseball numbers because they're just sort of a different.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of external factors.
And then when that hat was out, like there was so much hype. I mean, it was on ESPN and the Today Show, and it was just on every media outlet. And so Fresno had to show up. And so I think that year we had like 17,000 was the most we've ever had.
Wow.
We had to put trucks out in the street, and like we couldn't even.
Because that's how many there were.
Yeah. But last year it was, what was it, 10? I think it was 10.
Yeah.
Last year was packed.
Yeah.
How many food trucks do you guys have in the stadium?
Like we're kind of limited on what we can fit on the field.
Yeah.
So like 23, 24 is about what we can fit on the field.
Okay.
Last year we did 24. It felt a little tight for some of the food trucks. Like there wasn't as much exposed. Like you couldn't see them in certain places. So this year we're doing 23, and then we have 2 food trucks up on the concourse area. They're not taco trucks, just other desserts and stuff.
So the people know, how does the whole event play out? Like when does the the awards happen?
So the awards probably around 9:00.
Yeah. We spaced it out a little bit.
Yeah, so you'll get the judging award announced first, with the idea then that people can know you still have a couple hours to go get the judges pick. We start the judging around 5:00. It usually takes about 2 hours.
So that's where he has a panel of judges that he picks that walk around and taste all of the tacos.
We stay in one place now.
Oh,
we used to walk around. It was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bet.
It was,
Now they get the tacos brought to
I'm going to
them.
date myself on these references because you guys are too young, but this is probably just for Sam. It was like in Bill and Ted when they gather all the people and they have to get all the Napoleon and they have to follow them around. It's like, no, you guys need to stay in one place.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll bring the tacos to you.
They do stay in one place. Now I forgot.
Yeah, because they would just veer off.
It used to be that he would take the judges all the way around.
You're like, oh, we lost Jason Oliveira. What happened to Jason Oliveira?
Yeah.
And,
So now every truck probably just has
we
to send you guys
have
some.
staff that just goes and gets them and brings them.
Oh, okay.
So they have a certain time. They'll know. Like if you were a taco truck, when you arrive, well, not when you arrive, but at some point we'll go and be like, all right, we're going to pick up your tacos for the judges at 5:30, and they know, hey, you got to have 8 tacos, whatever your best taco is. Like it's up to you to pick. They can't make the judges don't have any say over. I want pastor. I want this. No, it's whatever you think your best thing is.
Yeah.
Dude, have you guys had an artist maybe be one of the judges?
Didn't Chingle Bling judge?
Yeah, Jingle Bling was a
Jingle Bling's funny though. Like yeah.
And we asked
that wrestling girl judged.
Yeah.
Was it Luna Rosa or what?
Yeah, Luna Rosa. She's one of the lucha wrestlers.
Yeah, she was a AEW person.
Yeah, that's right. She came for the wrestling event.
She was hella cool, by the way.
Yeah. We asked Mexican OT if he wanted to be a judge, and then
He wanted to wrestle instead.
and he said he wanted to wrestle, and he didn't get in there, and I believe.
Well, he has a luchador on his.
Yeah.
On his,
I mean, his album was
stomach,
called that,
right?
and so yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we came up with the best idea to get to that whole thing too. Just in like one of my guys in the office, Pop, also was really into wrestling, so we came up with the whole script of like how it should work. And
he didn't want to do it.
You guys know the story with Mexican OT and Anthony's Tacos?
What's that?
Where
When
he was like, "Oh, Texas,
I mean,
that's the best."
he's from Texas, obviously, and I mean, I think you guys probably saw that video recently where he was wearing like he got so high that he went off and left his chain with like the dude who was filming the video for him. Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't see that.
That was on
Was
there.
that at the event?
No. But I bring that up to say that like he's from Texas and he's smoking Cali weed. So and I can say, when you brought up those Texas tacos, that's one thing about Texas. Like, yeah, they're not. I love Houston. I love Texas, but their tacos are not California.
Like Cali, yeah.
Texas, you heard it here first. Come prepared.
And there's definitely not like our weed. And I don't even smoke weed, but I'm from California.
Yeah.
And like I've seen what they have out there, and yeah, I think he thought he was smoking Texas weed.
And then he just
that's
what Bianca had said. She was like, she gives him the taco. He's like, oh, I gotta smoke my wood first. He's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, he got hella high.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was so. That's why I didn't want to be in that video. The promo video for whatever. But he couldn't remember like what we were telling him to say, so I had to like say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was pretty lit. I would imagine. And then I'm assuming that he was pretty high when he was performing last year at Taco Truck Throwdown because he had went and hung out with Cypress Hill before he went on stage. So
he did a good performance though.
Yeah, that was that explains
a lot.
But shouts out to Greg and OT. Those are my dudes.
Yeah,
They're
he's
good guys.
a super cool dude. I've heard. Yeah, and what do you guys want to maybe talk about this year's Taco Truck Throwdown? What can you expect that's different? I know you mentioned a cigar lounge, or maybe lay out like a time.
I think obviously all the beefing up Michelada Throwdown, Salsa Throwdown, all those things I just feel like are a little better each year.
Yeah,
because
figure them out, eat more.
We're growing them more. Lots of new trucks this year, which I'm always excited about new trucks, just because I want to see these people kind of get their name out there, make their mark on the taco scene. A few that I'm really happy to have. So. That's important. I think that, having Larry June, I think as Sam already said, that's something we've kicked around now for 3 or 4 years. So
that's gonna be.
I think that's a big, big headline for us this year.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna sort of bring a younger demographic too, because he sort of resonates more with younger than the artists. No disrespect to any
Cypress
artists
Hill or whatever, right?
Like
Oh, yeah, there's different crowds for everything.
for sure. And I feel like Cypress Hill and Dr. Green Thumb, they're sort of more known in the weed world now, as opposed to maybe the music.
Music.
Yeah.
The wrestling this year too. We have that Samurai del Sol coming. That guy is like probably a bigger wrestler than we've had a lot of. Maybe Thunder Rosa. I mean, she was pretty big too. But he was in WWE at one point, and that's kind of a bigger deal than some of what we usually do for the wrestling part. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's we always have just sort of like random like cool stuff going on. Like it's a festival, so I mean we're gonna have a piñata with taco tickets in it, and you smash it open, you can get get free tacos.
Yeah.
So just like stuff like that, just to make it.
There's a cornhole tournament this year.
A cornhole tournament.
There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're about an hour. So any message you guys want to give to the audience?
I mean,
buy your tickets.
Yeah, if you can use my personal discount code, which is FTK, as in for the kids, get you $10 off a ticket.
Oh,
is there a Street Eats one?
There is one too, but they could use yours. That's fine.
Okay.
Plug it in.
I mean, yours is a lot shorter than mine, so you can't really
Mine's
just
just
spell it.
three
Yours is just FTK?
Yeah.
FTK. Well,
FTK,
you can't go wrong with
There you
that.
go. Yeah. The shirts, the Larry June shirts, I would definitely come out and swoop one of those because I feel like
want to get one of those.
You know what? There's one of those in the bag for you, bro. Size large.
Yeah, there we go, man.
But,
I might wear that out there.
Ask and you will receive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. No, well, man, thank you guys so much. You guys got so many gems. Honestly, that was kind of nostalgic for me hearing all the background and everything. But thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, and for me, it was so interesting to have you guys here. And nostalgic is the right word. So thank you guys again for coming in, and thanks everybody for listening.
We'll see you guys out at Taco Truck 13.
13.
Let's go.